What's up everybody? Today we're talking about risk-free combinations that you can use to test the water early in the fight. The other day I did an episode where we were talking about running out in the first 10-15 seconds being super foolish, how it might lead to you getting KO'd. And then somebody in the comments said, well, can you give us some examples of combos that work really well? So the next time you're sparring at the gym, somebody new comes in, maybe they're big and scary, you're like, oh, I don't want to run away, but I also don't want to get over enthusiastic and get smacked. This episode is perfect for you. Before we get into this episode, which is going to have so many great tips for you, I want to thank XMartial for being a partner of this video. You guys, they have such unique, exciting apparel, whether it's for Muay Thai, for Jiu-Jitsu, and right now during December, they have a promo code for 15% off. That's pretty good savings. You can head over, use the promo code XMISS and save. Link is in the description below. Take a moment and check out their really exciting assortment of training gear. So when we are talking about risk-free combos, we have to recognize that nothing is risk-free. As soon as you're within punching range or kicking range, there's something that can land. And as soon as you execute something, you expose yourself to a certain extent. But even though there's still some risk, there are some punches, some kicks, which involve much more risk than others. And the same thing when we throw combinations. The very first thing which I want you to understand before we get into sequences of attacks, also known as combinations, is what is the safest way to execute a technique? In my opinion, one of the safest ways when we're talking about hands to throw a shot and not get countered as easy is coming right up the straight line. We're coming right up the middle, right up the middle. Same thing on our kicks, right up the middle. It's because this is the fastest, most direct way to hit the target. When we start coming around, it's easier to see this coming, and now the center is exposed for somebody to come and hit us. So generally, if I am testing out the waters, I'm gonna go with something straight down the middle. In addition to that, we need to recognize that length allows us to stay safer. Why is that? Well, if I close into a tighter range, uppercut, hook range, I'm at risk of being hit from every angle because uppercuts and hooks are generally shorter than our longer shots. So once I'm within that range where I can throw these, I can be countered from pretty much every angle. Once I back up to this length, in general, I'm more worried about the straight shots than the rounded ones, unless the person comes really long with a wide arm, but generally that technique is much easier to see coming. So if you're trying to think about, oh, what is the safest way to throw techniques early? I would say stay long and come straight up the middle. We're gonna break that rule in a moment with some other techniques which are also safe. We'll incorporate them into combinations, but for a general rule of thumb, straight and long. And hopefully those general ideas really resonate with you. You understand why I'm saying those things. So let's start moving into some combos, which I might throw early in a fight or early in a sparring round to make sure that I'm not putting myself at too much risk. And obviously, the longer the combination goes on, the more chance there is that I'm gonna get countered or I'm gonna make a mistake. So if I'm not throwing single shots, I'm probably gonna max it out at 4. I don't think I would ever go beyond 4 early in the fight. Most likely a combination of 2, maybe 3. If I'm really ripping in something fast and I know it's very safe for me, I'll go up to 4. Nothing beyond that. So starting off, a very simple, effective combination, which has a high chance of you not getting countered, is stepping forward, jab, cross. That's it. You're standing there, you're keeping your distance, you step forward, bang, bang. You probably get your head slightly off the center line on the first punch and you get that quick exit. I know this is very basic and we will get more advanced, but the basics work for a reason. They're tried and true, they're safe, and coming up this center line, keeping my hands really tight, boom, There's not too many counters which are most likely going to end the fight. Yes, the person might tag me in the body. Yeah, they might hit me down to the leg, but overall my head is pretty much as safe as it can be. And you could easily finish that combination with a front kick or start it with a front kick, right? It could be 1, 2, kick, or it could be kick, 1, 2. It could also be something like a come cross jab to the front kick. There's no exact way that you have to throw it, but that's gonna be something that's very easy to execute and stay safe with. Hit, 1, 2, quick exit. Now, if you are gonna be slightly more advanced and you're gonna start incorporating something that's more rounded, I, in general, would not lead with that. I would end with that, because if I step forward and I come 1, 2, in those moments, I've decided, oh, is this guy gonna counter? What's he doing? No, his hands are up really high. He's protecting his head. 1, 2, I can get the third off and then get that quick exit. But you do not wanna hang around after you start throwing rounded shots, because there's gonna be more openings. So if you do finish with anything that's not on the straight line, make sure it's at the end of your combo. 1, 2, 3, end of the combo, quick exit. And the same thing goes with kicks. For me, one that I would really like is stepping forward with the jab and coming to the low kick. The reason I like the jab to the low kick is a lot of times when we come to the body, we swing our hand way down. We don't keep our hands up, but down to the leg, we can keep our hands up. We could come 1 and 2 and keep these hands very tight to the head and not worry about doing that swing, which we might initiate later in the fight to gain a little bit of extra power. But early on, we're not trying to get the KO. We're not trying to make this guy limp away and stop the fight in one kick. We're just trying to understand timing and keep ourselves safe. Now, if you're looking for a longer, safe combination, again, we talked about length at the beginning. A very easy one. Jab, jab, cross, inside low, off the left leg. That one is gonna be very simple, very safe, because I can keep my hands very high, I can go very long, and then at the end I can tip my head out of kicking range, or sorry, punching range, and make sure that when I throw my inside low, I'm no longer in that striking distance. 1, 1, 2, little fade back, reset, and then a little exit. 1, 1, 2, boom. I could just come straight out on that exit at the end as well. This one, to me, is very safe. I will throw this if I ever feel like, oh, I'm getting overwhelmed, or this guy's really good at countering. Fantastic way to just let those hands go, but follow with the kick. Now, like I said, there are always ways to break rules. I said at the beginning, keeping things long, keeping things very straight. But maybe after about 10, 15 seconds, we've tried a few of those, we want to expand a little bit more, but we still want to stay safe. We know our opponent keeps his hands fairly high, so we throw a left hook. But we do not stay in this center line. We're going to take a step out to the side with our left hook. We're going to keep the shoulder super high, because we want to make sure that if they counter, we can tuck that chin under and really protect the head. But if we can come right from here and go, okay, he didn't do anything to counter, I get my body off the center line, then I can come with the round kick, I can step back and now be at this new angle. Very easy way, 1, 2, back down to stay safe. The hook to the round kick, or the jab to the round kick. You can do that with the jab as well. It's all about getting that little step with the first punch and making sure that you're not compromised on the right for any big overhands. As long as you commit to the jab, but go, okay, if anything comes to this side, I'm going to adjust to protect, or I'm going to adjust to protect. If nothing comes, which usually it won't, then I can just go, okay, I'm going to go right to my round kick. Nice, safe way to start testing out some of the angle shots, and again, not be at risk for any massive counters. So far we have straight punches mixing in with the front kick. Very simple. We start going to jab, jab, cross to the inside low. A little bit more advanced, but again, very simple, very safe. And now we've gotten into this and coming with some sort of round kick. Remember, this round kick can come at all 3 levels. So it's all gonna be based in this moment on, oh, okay, he's very heavy on his lead leg. Let's smash it. Oh, he's very light on his lead leg. Let's go up to the head. You're always making adjustments as you throw something, thinking about the next shot ahead of when you're actually going to execute. Another one that's really quite safe but you need to be more advanced to actually execute, is to go jab, jab, spinning side kick. Why is this one so safe? Well, I'm staying at this really long range where if anything comes during my double jab, I'm going to be able to fade back. But again, even with my spinning side kick, I'm keeping things up the middle. Once I throw my double jab and I start to turn, my head tips a little bit away. So I'm really safe in this moment, and then I can come right up the center. It's hard to counter a spinning side kick while it's actually being thrown. It's after the spinning side kick that is actually dangerous for the kicker. Maybe they go jab, jab, they hit, they don't take a step back, and then that's when they get tagged. But you're going jab, jab, spinning side kick, and you're recreating that range very fast. That's a super safe combo for you to try. What I would really advise though is not just taking the combinations which I give you today. Like, yes, you can try them out in sparring, but really dig deep. Think about what your favorite techniques are, which ones you feel most comfortable throwing, which feel the least risky to you, you don't get countered, and use those to build your own combinations early in rounds when you're sparring with somebody new. If you're somebody who, let's say, loves a jab to the body, it's not something everybody throws, but if you throw jabs to the body really successfully, as long as you dip and keep this hand really high, a jab to the body, in my experience, is very safe. When somebody throws at me, I find it very hard to get them, to tag them back. And when I throw my jab to the body, it's pretty much air-free. Like maybe 1 out of 100 times, I throw a jab to the body and end up paying for it. I don't always land and do lots of damage, but this might be something which works for you. Some other guys here might be like, oh, you know what? I like to test the waters with a scissor front kick because I can start from so far away. I'm gonna hit the guy, he's gonna back up. It's all down to what you feel most comfortable with. And I gave you some good starters today, but you guys play around, test it out, and just recognize which shots you get countered with the most. If for some reason every time I throw a low kick, I feel like I'm getting countered, well, that's not a good technique to start off and throw early in sparring against somebody new. People often forget that sparring or fighting is a physical chess match. That's really all it is. You want to be a step ahead of your opponent, whoever you're against. So even if I go for something risky, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to step in and just come with a body shot. That's it. This is such a dangerous technique because I have to draw my hand back. I'm not going to come down and do this. I'm just going to step forward and boom, hit them. Yeah, there's lots of risks. But what can happen is you start thinking ahead. You're like, okay, if he does nothing, he doesn't move his feet, then I'm just going to commit. But like chess, you have to anticipate, okay, this guy, if he starts to throw a cross and I go here, then I'm gonna have to dip so the cross goes over. Or if as I step, he goes backwards and there's nothing to hit, then I'm just gonna stop. You always have to be assessing what's happening and make adjustments according to what the situation will be in half a second, in a second. This is what great people in fight sports are going to do. So I hope this episode helped you guys figure out what some risk-free strategies might be early in the rounds, whether you're fighting or you're sparring.